Hi everybody, it's Mrs. Carlton here, and we are going to work on volume of cones today. So this is from section 8.2 in the book, and it's found on page 342. So if you have your book at home, or if you want to open up your Big Ideas textbook online, you can do that, okay? The title is Volume of Cones. Okay, so before we start, I want to make sure that everybody watched the YouTube video. There was a YouTube video in the Google Classroom. It's only 1 minute long, but it's very important that you watch that to make sure you understand this formula. So if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do that right now, okay? Stop the video for a second, go back to the Google Classroom and watch that 1 minute video, okay? In the video, you realized that a cone is smaller than a cylinder if it has the same dimension. So that means the same height and the same diameter. So if I have, this is my cylinder, okay, and I put a cone in here, the cone would hold a lot less. Does anybody know how much less? It's 1/3 less. That's because 3 cones would fit inside the cylinder. So I could take my cone and fill it up 3 times to fit in the cylinder. Now remember, that means that your height is the same and the circle diameter is the same, or radius, okay? So what that means for us is that we use the same formula for cylinder, but then to get 1/3 of something, we have something extra to do. So first off, what we're working with here is a cone. And the formula is this. V equals pi times r squared times h, because that's our cylinder, right? And then we know that 3 cones fit inside, so we multiply it by 1/3. That's how you get 1/3 of something, is multiplying it by 1/3. Now the easy way to multiply by 1/3 is to divide by 3. Okay, so like if I wanted to take 1/3 of 9, I would just divide it by 3, and it's 3. If I wanted 1/3 of 300, I would divide by 3, and it's 100. So the formula that we're going to use that's going to make it nice and easy for us is V equals pi times r squared times height divided by 3. Okay, and that's how you're going to punch it into the calculator. Remember, we're still using 3.14 for pi, and that's just to make it consistent. Some people have a pi button on their calculator. Like I have one, it's up above the exponent button. You can very slightly see it there. It's the second function, that blue one. So when I hit second pi, I get 3.14. I get a pi symbol, but see, it's 3.14. That's the actual value of pi, but we're going to round it to 3.14, okay? Now, just like when we did volume of cylinders, your answers will be slightly different. As long as you're close, that's okay, all right? Because it depends on how you round and if you use pi or if you use the 3.14, so there's going to be a little bit of difference. All right, well, let's start with example 1 from the book, okay? And example 1 from the book is just a cone. So let's draw a cone. This is the easiest way to draw a cone, is to draw the top of the triangle, put a curve on the bottom, and this is the part that makes it look like a cone. The dotted line, that's what makes it look 3D. Remember, nobody's going to see your notes but you, so if you're not perfect at drawing these, it's okay. So at this point, we are going to fill in our dimensions. First off, they're giving us a height of 6 meters, and they give us the diameter of 4 meters. Now, the one problem that I notice with this cone is that they give us diameter. But our formula uses radius. So remember, diameter goes all the way across, right? So if we only want radius, we're going to take half of it. So we're going to cut this in two. So if all the way across is 4, that means, excuse me, that means my radius is 2. So we're going to do volume equals pi times r squared times h divided by 3. So that's always the same formula. So let's fill in what we know. Okay, pi is 3.14. R is 2, so that's 2 squared. You can't forget to square your radius. Times the height of the cone is 6 divided by 3. So go ahead and calculate that out. Use your calculator. And you should end up with 25.1. And the units are meters cubed. Remember, just like when we did cylinders for volume, the meters are always going to have that 3 by it. They're cubed because volume, remember, measures how many little cubes fit into that cone. Okay? All right, so let's do one more together. Let's do an Oyo. Okay, so we'll do it together, then I'll make up one for you to try on your own, because there's not a ton of examples, but I want to do a couple together. So Oyo number 1. Okay, so this time the cone looks like this, kind of like an ice cream cone. Curve at the top, and then the dotted line. And the 2 dimensions they give us are the height is 15 centimeters. And the radius, this time they give us the radius, so we're all set, is 6 centimeters. Remember, the only time you have to cut it in half is if they give you the diameter, which goes all the way across, because you only want the halfway mark. So let's start with our formula. V equals pi times r squared times h divided by 3. All right, now we can fill in what we know. We know that pi is 3.14. We know that my radius is 6, so that's 6 squared. I know that my height is 15, and the whole thing has to be divided by 3. And remember, the divide by 3 part is only for cones, and that's because you remember from that little YouTube video with the girl pouring the green liquid that 3 of these cones would fit into a cylinder that was the same height and had that same circle, okay? Because all the space around here, like if you were to have the cylinder, is the space that's not really filled in. So that's why we're only 1/3 of it, okay? So that's why we divide it by 3. Okay, so go ahead and multiply that out. Use your calculator. You should end up with 565.2 centimeters cubed. Okay, nice job. Now I've mostly round to the 10th. Sometimes your directions on different worksheets or the textbook might say round to the nearest hundredths. It doesn't really matter as long as your answer is close. I usually round to the 10ths. You'll see that the most answer keys are like that too. As long as you're coming close to this, then that's okay. You can mark it correct. All right, I have one I want you to try on your own, okay? So this is an extra Oyo. And this time I'm going to give you a sideways cone. Same exact process, you're just looking for the correct dimensions. So there's your cone. Draw the curve and then the dotted line. And the dimensions they give us are the height, 31 inches. And the radius is 17 inches. Okay, so take that and fill it in to your formula. Still the same formula, pi times r squared times h divided by 3. Don't forget to divide by 3 because it's a cone. All right, so pause the video and try that out. Fill in what you know and use your calculator. All right, hopefully you have this. 3.14 times the radius is 17. So 17 squared times height is 31. Divided by 3. When you calculate it out using your calculator, you should end up with something like 9,377.1, and it's inches cubed. Okay? So today that's all we're going to do is just find the correct dimensions and plug it into the formula. Remember, you always want radius, but you have to be careful if you're given one like this where they give you the whole diameter. You have to cut that in half so that you have the radius, because this is the one that you want. Okay? All right, so let's do that. Now today we're going to follow the same thing. Hang on, I'm grabbing a planner sheet. Okay, so today is the 1st. It's June already. Can you guys believe it? So June 1st or 2nd, depending on if you do this lesson on Monday or Tuesday, it doesn't really matter. Either one is okay. And first thing you're going to do is watch the video, which you already did, okay? You want to choose an assignment. So choose a worksheet and check it. Well, do it and check it. Choose worksheet, do it, and, oops, I messed that up. Check it. Okay. Next is the self-assessment. Self-assessment, and this is lesson 10. Okay. That's for Monday or Tuesday. Then we're going to have another lesson 11 later in the week. Next week, we're only going to have one lesson, so we're getting close to the end. You'll also have a quiz next week. That will be your last quiz of the year. Okay? All right, so I think that's it for today. Remember, you're always welcome to email me with any questions you have. And if you need some extra help, we'll get online together and do a Google Meet where I can give you some more examples and some extra help. Okay, see you guys soon.